Howdy, gang, and welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host here at the Gaming Gang channel. Thanks for joining me once again. Before I dive on into our review today, do want to mention if you're interested in supporting the Gaming Gang, we now have a Patreon, and that link is in the show notes. And be sure to hang with the gang over on Discord. There is an invite link to our Discord server also in the show notes. So today I am going to be sharing my review of Pathfinder Thirst for Blood, part one of the three-part Shades of Blood adventure path from Paizo Inc. This is written by Louis Loza with Brian Bauman, Adam Daigle, and Jim Groves. This 96-page softcover is available now, carries an MSRP of $29.99, or you can grab just the PDF for $19.99. Having said all that, let's swing on over to the other camera because here I've got Thirst for Blood. A few things to mention before we get stuck in. First of all, my friends over at Paizo Inc. were kind enough to provide me with this review copy, but neither I nor anyone else affiliated with the Gaming Gang has received any other sort of compensation for me to share this review with you. It's important you know that. We're also not going to look at each and every page of the adventure, but I do want to give you a good feel for what you're going to find inside. And then lastly, this is an adventure. So if your game master has picked up Thirst for Blood and just hasn't started running it, or maybe they're considering picking this up, by all means, as a player, I would recommend tune out now because there's going to be some spoilers. You're going to see some things as I page through that are going to ruin surprises of the adventure. And you don't want that to happen. Now, of course, if your game master is thinking about picking up Thirst for Blood, let them know about this review. That way they can approach this and make a far more informed buying decision. First thing we're going to do is take a peek at the credits page. A lot of folks worked very hard to bring this to life. So let's give credit where credit is due. As I mentioned, this is the first part of a three-part adventure path. And the premise here is that the player characters who start off at first level are going to be visiting this island, this colony. On this island, the colony is Talmendor's Bounty. And they are going to be assisting this astronomer with their observation of this celestial event that's going to be taking place. And early on, this first part of chapter one is going to involve the player characters going around through the colony, doing some little encounters, some fetch quest stuff. And the important thing is that they're introduced to a couple of important NPCs, and then the proceedings will move on from there. So, of course, with most Pathfinder Adventure Path releases, we usually have one part that's kind of a little bit of a downtime, little bit of a familiarize yourself with the region, with the area, with the village, the town, wherever you're at. That's how this first chapter, Chasing Shadows, will play out. Now, the premise of the Shades of Blood adventure path is this vampire was imprisoned by the Aslanti because this island actually used to be part of the Aslan Empire years and years ago. And now this vampire has been released. Now they're still in the prison because they can't travel across water, right? This is an island. And of course, they can't travel in daylight. So they come up with a master plan of how they can escape this prison because they want to track down their long lost love. Something that we tend to encounter with vampire role-playing adventures. So what's going to happen is that suddenly this liquid shadow erupts from this tower and it starts splashing all over the place. And it turns out that the sunlight starts to dim. So it's as if the island is in perpetual sundown. Of course, everybody's freaking out about this. And funny enough, the astronomer's not really that concerned that now they aren't going to be able to observe this celestial event because this is a much bigger deal. This has never happened before. So, of course, the player characters are tasked with investigating what is going on, and they will go out and start looking around the island. They are going to find this cave, and they're going to learn that this cave is actually populated by these werebats. So, blood drinkers are going to be the theme of many of the encounters that the player characters are going to have throughout Shades of Blood. So here we're going to deal with the werebats, and they're also going to find out that this cave is going to lead them into this prison complex because the Aslanti actually used this island as a prison, and that is where they've imprisoned this vampire. Now, I do want to point out that it does look as if the main focus of Shades of Blood is going to be kind of a mega dungeon, at least the end of this, as well as most of the next chapter, which is arriving early next month. In fact, I will be sharing a look at the second chapter this coming week on the Gaming Gang Dispatch, because I'll be sharing the Paizo preview for May. So the player characters are going to start delving into this mega dungeon. Now, as far as the dungeon itself, this prison complex, I don't know if it's going to be as massive a mega dungeon as we saw in Abomination Vaults, seeing that that was the main focus. I will say that in the second and third chapters, there are opportunities for some other outside events to take place. So there are set pieces and encounters that'll take place when the player characters return to Telmander's bounty to recuperate, to rest, to resupply, and so forth. So as far as the rest of the adventure, we're going to have information about the colony itself. We're also going to learn more about the god of stolen blood, Camazotz, and the religion devoted to them, because that's who these werebats worship. So we've got that. And then we'll, of course, get into our adventure toolbox. We've got some new magic items. We have a new subclass, the Sanguimancer, which is blood magic. It's kind of gross. Whirls of blood. So we'll have some new feats available to them as well. I mean, it's interesting. I mean, it's an interesting new subclass, but kind of creepy as well. Then we'll have a few new entries for our bestiary, and then we'll have our important NPCs, of which we have 2. And I will try to avoid the spoilers here and just kind of flip past them. Some information about what's coming up in this adventure path as well. So that is a peek inside Thirst for Blood for Pathfinder, part 1 of the 3-part Shades of Blood adventure path from Paizo Inc. Let's swing back over to the other camera so I can share some final thoughts as well as my review score. For the most part, I feel Thirst for Blood is a solid, if not spectacular, beginning to the Shades of Blood adventure path. The set pieces, the encounters, the antagonists that the player characters are going to face off against, interesting. I think your players are going to have a good time with this. I honestly think a game master and players will have fun with Thirst for Blood. Now, something that I think is odd, and it's really something that plagues just about every low-level Pathfinder adventure path I've seen, they never feel level appropriate. They never feel like adventures where you've got beginning characters just setting out into the big, vast world of Golarion. These always feel like they could be statted for just about any level. And I'll give you an example. This first chapter is for levels 1 through 3, and the player characters are supposed to begin at first level. And then suddenly this crazy event takes place. This liquid shadow comes erupting out of this tower, and all of a sudden the island is plunged into sundown. You know, it's in shadow, and you're going to ask the first level characters to go explore and find out what's behind this. Isn't there some sort of established hierarchy to this colony? Is everyone 0 level? No. So I think that's kind of weird. I mean, this could easily have been for higher level characters without blinking an eye. So like I said, I think that's something that plagues many of the Pathfinder adventure paths, where every time they come out with a new adventure path and it's starting out at lower levels, it's got to be epic. It's got to be something big. It can't just be a natural progression of beginning adventurers. I don't know. It's just kind of odd. It's not exactly like a deal breaker or anything like that, but it is something that I have noticed with the second edition Pathfinder adventure paths set for lower level characters. Anyway, I really do like what you're getting with Thirst for Blood. I'm intrigued to see what this adventure path is going to bring. So on a scale of 0 to 10, I give Thirst for Blood a 7 out of 10. I think it's interesting. I look forward to seeing what takes place with this. Like I said, I find this to be solid, if simply not spectacular. All right, that is it for this time out. If you liked the video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, don't forget, ring that bell. It'll not only let you know when I share videos such as this review, it'll also inform you when my live stream, the Gaming Gang Dispatch, airs Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evenings right here on YouTube at 7 p.m. Central. Of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more you're not going to find here on YouTube. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. And of course, if you'd like to support the Gaming Gang, we do now have a Patreon. The link is in the show notes. And be sure to hang with the gang over on Discord and click on the invite link also in the show notes. Thanks for watching. Once again, I'm Jeff McAleer. And until I see you next time, I certainly hope all of you get to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.